Manga is something that I was exposed to a few years ago, and it's opened my eyes to a lot of quality fiction. During my years of reading, I've seen series that have evoked a lot of emotions and feelings. Ones that have me so hyped I feel like I could squat 500, some that have me questioning if I deserve to be alive after reading them, some that make me sit back and feel genuinely sad, and this one? Ooh, wow, that's a hard one. My point is that one of the main purposes of manga is to make you feel. Some authors specialize in evoking one emotion in particular. The extremely talented mangaka Junji Ito, for example, has the ability to evoke fear and terror extremely well. What I find more enjoyable though are authors that are able to express multiple things seamlessly, comedy being one of those. I've covered one series that I think does this well in another video, so if you wanna, after this video though. But today the two series that I want to talk about are Mashle, Magic and Muscles, and Sakamoto Days. I'll cover the former first. Usually for me to get hooked into a manga early on, or any series for that matter, I look for good storytelling, good art, intriguing characters, baselines for dynamics and parallels, but Mashle completely defies these rules I have in mind, and within 2 pages I was somehow hooked instantly. It wasn't an insane panel art-wise, there wasn't a moment of crazy development, it's literally just the MC absolutely cranking on a bench press, and this sets the precedent for the whole story. Magic is extremely important in this world, and those without it are considered subhuman and subjected to death. Our main character, Mash Burnedead, has been living secretly in this forest with his adoptive grandfather, ignorant to the rules in the world while building his muscles. One day he gets found out though, and his only option to maintain his life of peace is to enroll in Easton Magic Academy, in which he finds a plethora of very interesting characters and antagonists. So it's at this point you must be asking yourself, what's so great about this series? Why is it so captivating? Why should I read this? Because it's fucking stupid and honestly pretty funny as well. Imagine yourself in this situation. You've just enrolled into this school and you see these double and triple liners. Lines of the power system, the more you have, the stronger you are. Blow shit up, manipulate gravity, summon gods, and you see a regular one-liner absolutely slamming the fuck out of people with these abilities, with just his muscles. Let's take this situation as an example. Mash is faced with a powerful opponent with immense durability and has an iron wand. You'd think that maybe he could throw it as a distraction in a crucial moment, throw it at a weak spot that he's uncovered, but instead he uses his bare hands to sculpt the wand into a tennis racket and then plays Rule Rally with the opponent in order to defeat them. The series revolves around the fact that Mash has to overcome extremely powerful magic users solely with his muscles. This may sound like it loses its novelty over time, which is a fairly reasonable assumption. However, because of the large array of magic users in the verse, he's constantly faced with different situations in which a solution is pretty much always unexpected. Even though Mash is really strong, stakes are still put in place during parts of the series, so it's not like Mash's existence removes all tension. A few chapters in and you can see Mash's similarities to Saitama, and the similarities of the series to One Punch Man as well as Black Clover. From what I've read, action shonen that also focus on comedy have a relatively simple plot. I'm guessing this is that so the author is able to focus on both aspects without fucking up or sacrificing one for the other. Even with the plot beginning to develop, comedy is still a focal aspect of the story and it has me laughing a good 100 chapters in. Mash is relatively stoic a lot of the time, but seeing him crumble at simple questions and keep up this entourage and facade of having magic is really amusing to see. His lack of a varied amount of human interaction also add to this, and this is where the side characters come in. Because of the nature of the school, a lot of people entered because they're from royalty, some people also just entered because of their strength. The school is a place for different people to mesh, and inside all of this you have Mash, who has some of the most interesting and convoluted dialogue with these characters. These side characters all seem like they're mocking a certain trope individually, but manage to fulfill their roles well in the series. Firstly, you have Dot, the stereotypical hot-blooded side character. The first time we see him, he's constantly claiming that he's the protagonist of the story, calling Mash a side character. With confidence like this to call the Mash we know a side character, then surely he must be absolutely broken, absolutely overpowered. He gets slammed in the first fight he has. Seems like a pretty nice guy though, so he somehow found himself in the main cast. Lance fills the role of the prodigy rival trope, and at first he seems like a relatively cold character, but through the absurdity of the actions of Mash and the others, we slowly get to see him warming up to them and taking part in their ignorance. Also has a sister complex for some reason. Lemon fills the trope of the female character that instantly falls in love with the MC for showing her for showing her a shred of empathy. She thinks of Mash as her proclaimed husband, and out of all these side characters, I think she's the one that gets shown the least, but when she does make an appearance, she just adds to the comedic aspects of the story. And lastly, Finn. I don't really see Finn fulfilling a common trope, but rather he's just a character that has a similar perspective to the audience. He's the only level-headed and realistic character in the series. When the main cast is doing some of the most plain dead shit possible, he acts as the mediator between them. And seeing him watch absurdity occur in front of him with reactions that would be absolutely normal make him one of my favourite characters in the cast. If you're looking for something that isn't insanely serious, has really good comedy, also surprisingly good art, then Mashle is a perfect fit for you. Sakamoto Days. It's another series that I find similar to Mashle in terms of how comedy is intertwined with its action. The story revolves around a man called Taro Sakamoto. In his prime, a man considered the greatest hitman of all time until he fell in love, had a 10-year bulking season, and became a convenience store clerk. Of course though, due to him leaving a trail of deaths behind him, he gained a lot of enemies and people pull up to his shop in order to try and kill him. Of course there was no problem for the god of the assassin world to pack these enemies with ease. He could just shoot them or give them the London experience if he wasn't barred from killing. And this is where the magic begins. Because of the rule placed on him by his wife, Sakamoto has to find ways to subdue his opponents creatively, and this is one of the avenues opened up by the author in order to create comedic effect. Like Mashle is able to find this perfect balance between action and comedy, yet it feels much more raw, and I think that the art style is the main reason. At times it's kind of gory, and the reader is pulled back and forth between the comedy and depictions of violence. When I first saw it I was surprised, but after that point the transitions felt seamless. Your side characters are extremely important in pretty much any form of story. They serve to add interesting character dynamics, to help and support the main character, and they can be used as vehicles to further the plot. Sakamoto Days takes this notion and dials it up to 10. I know it probably sounds like a broken record with how much I've said different series have great side casts, but the people that Sakamoto has surrounded himself with are nothing short of amazing. Take Shin for example, an assassin that used to work with Sakamoto in his prime, who's also a clairvoyant. Sakamoto is a relatively quiet character and for the most part only talks when he has to. Because of this, the author's main way of communicating what Sakamoto would say or is thinking is through Shin's mind reading ability, and this is something that sets these two up for cohesive comedic interactions. And it's not even just the side cast, even in terms of antagonists, I feel like I pretty much like every character in the series. Despite all of these characters being brutal assassins, their interactions with each other are genuinely human and honestly very funny. And most importantly, their interactions make you feel invested in these characters. Because they're assassins, a good amount of them likely have interesting backstories and they have me wanting to learn more about them. It also has that one old man trope that everyone loves. No, not this one. This one. The one where these men are pushing 94 years of age but are absolute smoke demons for absolutely no reason. So if you're into old men, you'll like this one. And that's about it. Hopefully you give these series a try, and if you have already, tell me what you like about them in the comments. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a nice day.